Well, hello and welcome to the first weather video for March. We're going to see if we got the February summary in, but first we're going to talk about the way the weekend went. We had a warm weekend. Finally got at least melted a decent amount of snow. There's still, however, a decent amount in the woods. We're going to just go over what it looked like, especially yesterday. Yesterday was pretty mild, and you see yesterday here we had temperatures getting up into the upper 40s and even low 50s across Long Island, so very mild. And then if you went off to the inland, especially in Jersey, 57 at Miller Air Park, and just west of that, 60, 62. So hopefully they melted a good amount of snow over there. And we're looking at the lows for yesterday morning. And they did have radiational cooling Friday night, Saturday morning, 16-degree low at West Hampton, 24 at Islip, so 20s. And, but the more urban areas and my alley, it only got down to around 30. So, that's what it looked like, and we'll go ahead and not a whole lot going along across the country. It's fairly quiet. Looking at the weather tonight, you'll see the temperatures have dropped. Looking at Islip, it's 30. Got up to only 39 today. So today definitely was colder, whereas yesterday, if we go to yesterday, you can see how warm it got yesterday. I got to go way back, but you can see it got in the upper 40s. There was fog at night from radiational cooling, actually. It looks like they had some pretty thick ground fog in some parts of Long Island overnight in the morning there. And then looking at Friday, Friday also turned out to be a pretty nice day. The 27th also turned out to be a pretty nice day. Not quite as warm that day when we had upper 30s. However, we had sunny skies for the most part, and east winds turning southeast. Fortunately, the wind component was more from the southeast, so deal with the furnace exhaust. But I did make the most of it getting out there, although too much snow on the ground, really, as you can see. This was pine lawn on Friday, and you can still see a decent amount of snow on the ground there. Though a nice blue sky, and then yesterday we also had a blue sky as well, and a little bit on the hazier side, maybe with a little bit warmer air, but still looking pretty out there. And just saw some pines again, but just I can only go where there's roads because the snow is still kind of deep to walk in. There's still drifts in there and stuff. And then the night, I actually did some moonlit woods at Massapequa Preserve, and you can still see all the snow on the ground there. But we do have moonlit woods, still moonlit night, always pretty. I always love taking pictures on these kind of nights. It's really some kind of magical, especially looking at the pines in the moonlight. Really nice. And we should be able to do that again tomorrow. So tomorrow night. So let's go ahead and look at our statistics for Islip today. And a high of 39, a low of 31 puts us 2 degrees below normal. Looking at yesterday's report, we had a high of 48 and a low of 24. The high was 4 degrees above normal, however, the low of 24 because of the radiational cooling. 4 degrees below normal, putting us at average. So now that we've looked at all that, let's look at the monthly weather. Let's see if we can get the monthly weather summary for Islip. If not, I'll have to do it another time. But we'll see if we can get the monthly weather summary for Islip for... Nope, we don't have it. So I guess we'll do that another time. Anyway, let's talk about the weather. It's a shame we don't have the monthly weather summary for Islip. I can look at the preliminary. So we'll just look at the preliminary right now and go over the preliminary data for February here. Average monthly temperature of 27.4, which is 5.4 degrees below normal, by the way. So pretty chilly February. And precipitation, 3 inches of liquid, still technically 0.28 below normal. However, snowfall for the month, 34.2 inches. Yeah, well above normal. So, and we'll talk about that more again when I get the official report from the Weather Service. So you can see here we do have a high that's building down that's going to give us a dry day tomorrow, but then unfortunately we're going to have stall front syndrome coming. We'll look at the highs again for today, and you can see highs generally right around that 40-degree mark across Long Island, a little bit warmer in Jersey. Now the low temperatures this morning, probably not quite as cold, upper 20s. Looking at our weather map, you'll see here we've got a high pressure that's going to give us one more dry day, and we have a very nice air mass, and then we enter the crap known as stall front syndrome, a.k.a. known as gloom and doom and gloom. I hate it, and we're going to be dealing with it for quite a while, unfortunately. So let's go look at the models now, and We'll first start off with the upper air pattern as we head into March now. We're in a new month, and that means different weather patterns. As we head into March, it tends to be a little more stormy, unfortunately. We don't really see any big storms. It's just a lot of stall front syndrome, basically. So we're going to go look at the jet stream here, and you'll see why. So we're going to look at the 12 Z runs of the GFS and Euro here, just for consistency purposes. Okay, so you see there's a little trough that comes through that brings us our little bit. You notice that it doesn't really dig that deep. That high kind of moves on by, and then we're stuck in kind of a crappy zonal flow with stall front syndrome for a good part of the week here. And then we start seeing some ridging, which will bring in some more warmth. However, that record warmth that looked like we were going to get, we may not wind up getting because of backdoor cold fronts. You can see there's a really strange trough there as we head into next weekend there. The jet stream's all kinked up. And then there's a trough that tries to dig, but it's mainly in the west. We're in the ridge pattern part of it, so we don't really see any cold, any real. Tomorrow will be might be the last really cold day we're going to have. European on the 12Z run with the jet stream. See if we see any differences here between the models here. European has a little bit of a different look in the long range. It does try to bring some colder weather back. It tries to. So let's go to the upper air now. And you'll see that. So here's the European. There's that little trough that comes through, gives us the cool down. But then we have a zonal pattern with above normal temperatures. And you can see there is some troughing that tries to develop, but it's not really very consistent. So, yeah, I think this may be it for winter. GFS, and technically it is climatological spring, but we can still have winter weather in March. You can see there's the ridge building, so that'll be warmer temperatures, much warmer temperatures, a big ridge as we get into the second week there. That's a huge ridge developing, and there's really no end in sight to the right now at this point. There's just a huge ridge, and the cold air is just going down into the Midwest there, all right, with this kind of pattern. So I thought I was looking at the 18Z by accident, but all right, oops. But I don't really see any change. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty consistent. Though the 12Z does try to bring a little trough through around Monday, perhaps. But this is still kind of a ridge there, a big ridge. We go to the temperature anomaly chart next, I guess, and we'll take a look at it here on the larger view first, and then I'll take it down to the CONUS view. So you see there's that shot of cold air that comes through. But after that, pretty much above normal for much of the country. But you'll notice there's not so much above normal in the east here. All right. There is cold air up there, but you see how it spills into the west, down to Texas. It could be colder in parts of Texas than in New York, where they're set up like that. And you can see generally that's where the cold air seems to be going at this point. But there will be a return to cold air. There will be hopefully a cold air outbreak again, but we don't know where it's going to go at this point. We'll take this down to the CONUS view now, so you get an idea of what's happening here. So you see that above normal there, and you can see it tries to make it up, but you can see there's a bit of a backdoor issue that we're going to have to deal with later this week, and that means more crap, more drizzle, but then eventually it will break down, and I think we get into it is showing some actually rather spring-like warmth as we head into next week, at least. So that all that snow should be a distant memory by then. We still have a decent amount on the ground in the woods. It's really frustrating. We did get a lot of snow, and the problem is it's heavy and wet, but luckily it is melting off the sidewalk, so it's getting easier to walk around. So here's the European, and again, you see the cold weather, but you can see how it starts moderating. It's to Tuesday, Wednesday, but you do see that backdoor front problem that we're going to have for Friday and the weekend. But eventually, the warmth does get in here, and we get into some real spring-like warmth before it does try to bring some colder air back. It looks like a lot of it goes off to the north. So now we're going to look at that. We're going to go to the northern hemisphere and look at one more parameter, and that's the polar vortex. And I was showing it the last time that there might have been an indication of a polar vortex breakdown here at this point. So this is what we have right now. You can see there's a little bit of a stretch there. It does seem to split off But still, the center of it seems to be really over Siberia, and this is the problem. The core of it, that's where the core of the cold air is, and that's not really coming toward us. So that may be it. Tomorrow may be the last time we get Arctic air. So if you like Arctic air, and I do like Arctic air, I'm just not a fan of the snow, you might want to get out there and try to enjoy it. So now that we looked at all that, let's go to the surface now. And I think I had the 18Z up there by accident, but whatever the case is, yeah, I did have the 18Z up there by accident. Oops. All right. Why do I keep making these mistakes? All right. Pretty sure. That's why I just use the 18Z, because it just automatically defaults. See, now the 12Z does show the polar vortex trying to move toward us again. So maybe toward the latter part of the month it will see some Arctic air, hopefully. Okay, let's go to the surface now, all right? Starting with the GFS. And you see there's that high. So looking at the weather map, you see there's that high trying to build in. There's your stalled front that's going to eventually give us headaches all week long. So there's that high that's going to be giving us a dry day tomorrow. However, it goes to the north, so it's uncertain if we're going to have mostly sunny skies. We're going to be dealing with high clouds. We're going to have to look. It looked like originally the high clouds are going to get pushed to the south, and the miles kind of backed off and had them rolling in. But we're going to look at them now and see if that's changed again. So anyway, we're dry and chilly tomorrow, but then here comes the high moving offshore, and we have a sucky pattern developing for the whole week. It's going to be miserable. So light rain, and that rain's going to probably start later Tuesday and linger around through a good part of the day. And then Wednesday, we get a little bit of a break, but then more rain moves in Wednesday night. And Thursday, hopefully we get another little bit of a break from it. But then here we go, Friday, Thursday night to Friday, another low pressure in another area of rain. And then Friday, you can see what we've got there, a backdoor cold front. And that means that the temperatures are going to drop behind that backdoor cold front. And it could be kind of dreary. And there may even be some sucky drizzle behind it, perhaps. But it will most certainly be cloudy. It won't be a mostly sunny. The center of the high is way up in the Maritimes. And then for the weekend, you see that there's a battle there. Eventually, the warm air does win out, and we should warm up by Saturday. But then we have another front coming through Saturday night to Sunday, and that front is going to get stuck. And then we have this Atlantic ridge here developing, so we're going to have systems riding along that. So while it's warm, it's not necessarily going to be all that dry. You can see here that we do have, it looks like a really big southerly flow, and maybe a potential for an LLJ, maybe sometime in a couple of weeks from now. And then there's that cold air. It's trying to get in, but boom, front stalls out. Here comes another low and more rain. So if we look at the total amount of rainfall here on this going all the way out, you could see we could see a lot of rain, maybe maybe as much as 3 inches, or even more of rainfall. So it looks kind of like a wet pattern here. Let's go to the European, see if anything looks different. Whoops. All right, here we go. Okay, so here's your high pressure again. There's the Euro and the high pressure, hopefully pushing a lot of those cirrus clouds away from tomorrow. But then here comes the light rain for Tuesday, and then that continues Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. Then we get a little bit of a break, and hopefully most of Wednesday is dry before the rain moves back in later Wednesday night into Thursday morning, and then another low comes by, and then here's that back. So when that low moves through, that's going to cause the backdoor cold front to come through. And then as we head into the weekend, looking warmer at least, but not clear. And then as we go further along the Euro, you see there's a low, and that could be a nice LLJ right there, perhaps Thursday night, or a week from this coming Thursday, so that would be March 13th, and there could be a nice cold front behind that, bringing some colder air back into the picture again, perhaps. So we'll have to see what happens. That's a ways out. Looking at the Euro, let's see if the Euro is as wet as the GFS, and not quite as much. It has the moisture a little further to the west. Okay, so we'll have to see how that all pans out. Long range, we all know, and you know how the Euro, GFS actually been doing better than the Euro lately with certain things. So let's now that we look at the long range and the kind of crappy pattern we're going to have this week. Let's go and look at the dew points and wind flow on the HRRR. So you see that cold air coming in. We got the north winds, and the dew points drop. We have northeast winds tomorrow, and then they go easterly by probably the afternoon, you notice there's a good air mass, low dew points, dry air. But then once winds go to south by the evening, and then back to east on Tuesday, and that easterly flow is going to mean a drizzly, miserable day. And you can see the temperatures, the dew point temperatures rising to the 30s. That means the humidity will be high, which probably means likelihood of a lot of sucky drizzle. As far as tonight goes, probably won't see radiational cooling because we got the wind, but it'll still drop to around 20 by the morning, especially over Long Island. Be a little warmer off to the south. And then tomorrow, we're struggling to reach freezing. We may not even get there. It may only get to 30 on Long Island. And then tomorrow night, we don't see the it doesn't indicate that there'll be radiational cooling because the wind shift to the south. However, if the winds go calm, there could be radiational cooling because the skies won't really cloud up until toward Tuesday morning. And then as you get to Tuesday, that's when we're going to see how our temperatures and dew points are close together. So even if it's not raining, you're going to have that sucky drizzle that's going to be a problem for sure on a Tuesday. So Tuesday is going to be pretty miserable. Let's go a little bit beyond that here and look at the, I guess we'll just go to the GFS. Why not? We don't have the 0Z run of the GFS in, so we'll just go ahead and look at that. So, all right, so dew points and wind flow first of all right? So here's your dew points and wind flow, and you'll see that we have that easterly flow again Tuesday. But you notice Wednesday we get more of a southwesterly flow, all right? And then for Thursday, you can see what happens Thursday. We got a southwesterly flow, and the humidity starts coming up too a little bit as well. You can see this still looks like there's a boundary off to the north where the wind is from the north. So there could be a front right around here. And then as you get into Friday, you see what happens. The wind starts shifting to the east. That right there is a backdoor cold front. You can draw it out and draw out the backdoor cold front. Really, we call this. Some people call this backdoor hell because literally it just kind of comes in and gives you this drizzly kind of crap weather. While areas to the west, they're warm. So, but anyway, let's continue on here. You see there's that GFS keeps that backdoor in place. It tries to lift it out on Saturday, and then we get warmer on Sunday again. So that's what we're looking like. I'm not going to go any further on that. Let's look at the European. Well, first we're going to look at the precipitation. So we're going to look at that. So here's the precipitation. We're dry tomorrow, but you see what happens Tuesday. Rain, and then that's going to be overnight, and then we get a break, and then more rain. So you can see this front is just waffling around. Little break, and then Friday we start off with rain, but then there could be sucky drizzle behind that backdoor cold front. And then as you get to Tuesday, to Saturday, we warm up a little bit there, and we start seeing warmer air move into the picture. All right. How warm could it get as far as the long range goes? Well, this is how warm the GFS has it for Sunday. So we'll look at the temperatures next. All right. So here we are, 30s tomorrow. It's going to be cold Tuesday as well. Not going to be that warm. Wednesday, we see a little bit of a warmth. See that really warm air off to the south. Not going to get any of that. And then here we are Thursday. It looks like a backdoor front. So Long Island, we could be dealing with drizzly, crappy weather. But if you're in Jersey, South Jersey, you might actually have no drizzle and temperatures up into the 60s perhaps. So it looks like it does have us back to it for Thursday as well, unfortunately. And then here comes the backdoor front again for Friday. And look at how warm it gets off to the southwest. Wow, into 70s. I mean, this is some warm air. Look at this. So I'll just show you the warmth that we're going to have here over the southeast that's going to try to be building in here, which is pretty incredible. But we're not going to see it just yet. Friday, and then here we are Saturday. You can still see it. Looks like we're still dealing with a little bit of that backdoor influence while the heat. I mean, this is heat. The west. How about close to 80 in parts of Virginia? It's only March. And then some of that heat gets in here on Sunday, perhaps. Beyond that, which I'll go to the 12Z here. Beyond that, we do have warm weather for the following week as well. This is you see But Long Island could be cooled down by sea breezes, perhaps. We could have very warm weather, 70s, perhaps. Really unseasonably warm weather that we're going to have. All the snow should be definitely, every little patch of it, except maybe the biggest mountain, should be gone with that kind of warmth coming in, especially in Jersey, of course. But I think it's melting pretty good over here, too, as well. So that's what it looks like with the temperatures at this point. And all the models show the warm-up. This is the European. You can see there's the backdoor again. Yeah, you can see the European brings that warm-up a lot closer to us. On Thursday. For Friday, you can see how the temperature drops to that backdoor front. And then Saturday, you can see we got temperature still kind of on the chilly side. And if we want to go a little further on the European, then we have, there's that warm up again Sunday. So there's a potential for some real warmth as we head into next week. How far it gets will depend on the backdoor cold front. Take a look at that. So this is going to be kind of crazy what happens here next week. But there is a big ridge and potential for some warmth. But then after that, it will get colder again. It's showing some colder weather, but nothing crazy cold. So I think the most extreme cold, I think, is done. I don't think we're going to have to deal with that again. Probably. So we'll look at that. Let's go to the skies next. Our gem. Here we go. This is the latest 0Z run of the RGM, and I was really hoping that this crap would be pushed to the south, but it looks like it's going to brush us by tomorrow, and we're not going to have a clear day. I was really hoping it would stay to the south, and we would have it. Now, if you're up to the north, you'll have a clear day, but for us, it looks like, and then after that, tomorrow night will be clear, but then the clouds kind of come back, and then here we are. We're going to be stuck in it for a while. Wednesday, it tries to clear things out a little bit. It won't be as cold, but it does try to clear things out. As far as the type of air mass we would have, you can see it won't be as cold. Temperatures will be warmer that day, probably 40s. So at least it's trying to clear it out that day. So Wednesday, maybe there might be a chance of sunshine. This model might be a little overly optimistic, and then we're stuck in it again after that. GFS. This is the 0Z run of the GFS, which isn't going to go far enough out at all. So we go to the 18Z run. But you see what happens tomorrow again. That stupid little wave of high clouds comes in and ruins our mostly sunny day. And then Tuesday, we kind of have the clouds kind of coming in, and then we're stuck in them all week long, pretty much. And we may not see the sun for a while. Sunday, you can see, look what happened Sunday. It tries to have it sunny over Jersey, but we're going to still be stuck in the clouds. So it all depends on where that backdoor front sets up. But other than that, if you're looking for nice, mostly sunny weather, you can see that it really, you're going to have to wait until maybe the middle of the month to really get some mostly sunny weather. This is ridiculous. Between the snow and then a cloudy spell, I mean, this whole winter has been, I haven't been able to do any long hikes. It sucks, man. And now the snow's melting, so I could try to do a hike tomorrow. But now we got all the cirrus around. Here we are. Here, let's look at the NAM. Same deal again. You can see it just rolls that high cloud cover right in, unfortunately, on us. Clears it out maybe toward later in the day. But other than that, if you really want sunshine, clear skies, you're going to have to go to New England. And then you see the clear skies. And then we're going to have a lunar eclipse, but clouds may start filtering that out. I think it's sometime around 4 a.m. tomorrow. Or should I say today? Yeah, tomorrow, 4 a.m. tomorrow. So I don't know. No, not 4 a.m. 4 a.m. Tuesday. But I don't know if that's what's going to happen with that. Okay. So now we look at all that. Let's go look at the NAM precipitation here so we can look again at all the sucky, miserable light rain we're going to be dealing with. So tomorrow's dry, but you can see what happens again. Here's Tuesday. And it might start off as a mix, but I think mainly to the north and the west. You can see that rain moves in. And then it just lingers around. Going to be on and off rain. And that continues through the night. And then as you get toward Wednesday, it looks like there's a break. All right. As far as this first wave of rain, total accumulated precip with us on the NAM, it won't be a huge amount of rain. Could be close to a half an inch. Maybe some areas get close to like maybe 3/4 of an inch. But nothing, not tremendous. It won't be a soak or anything, but it's going to be annoying, to say the least. This is what the NAM is showing anyway. for this. We can look at the European. Similar idea in placement. HRRR is probably not going to go far enough out to show the event. Yeah, it only goes out to 0Z Wednesday. So only right through Tuesday night, the precipitation is fairly light, as you can see. It's not really showing that much. It'll be light rain. It won't be downpours. At least up until the heavier rain comes in later, I think. So, I'm already sneezing. My allergies are already starting, by the way, because it got warm. Yay. But anyway, let's now look at some other. So we looked at all that stuff. Now, let's go and look at the Ventus Sky, and maybe I should look at Windy. Yeah, I'm going to go to windy.com. Just look at the drizzle factor, because even when it's not raining, you're going to have sucky drizzle. So go here. We'll look at the visibility. And you can see we have good visibility right now, but as we head into Tuesday, that's when the sucky drizzle starts. It's going to start at 11 a.m., and you can see when it's not raining, we're going to have drizzle around. It shows drizzle, and then Wednesday, let's see if we get out of it on Wednesday. All right, noon has some drizzle along the coast. Still could have some sucky drizzle, perhaps even Wednesday evening. It's trying to show. I don't know if those are patches of drizzle or showers. What about Thursday? Still drizzle. All right. Yeah, it's showing sucky drizzle for Thursday as well. And then Friday, yep, more sucky drizzle. So, yeah, I mean, this is going to be a lousy week. For sure. And if you have the decide just get away, go somewhere else where you don't have this crappy weather. Because stall front syndrome, well, this is what stall front syndrome brings, and you can see pretty much the whole north. This is horrible. So this is stall front syndrome. It's not normal. We have this happens way too often, but you can see what happens Friday. We're dealing with the drizzle too, depending on how. Because of the backdoor cold front. That's the problem. So the backdoor cold front is the problem. So we have to overwhelm that backdoor cold front eventually. We'll get overwhelmed and we get into the more spring-like warmth. But in the meantime, we got to deal with all this crap. So let's go to the Climate Prediction Center and look at our climate prediction outlook, 6 to 10 day outlook. And you can see we are very much in the above normal there. Excellent chances of above normal temperatures for March 7th to 11th in the 6 to 10 day. Precipitation, we're just on the edge of the above normal. We're in the near normal because again, it won't be that much rain it probably won't be all that much rain. It's just going to be sucky, drizzly, crappy, light rain and drizzle kind of crap that we're going to be dealing with. And then as we go to 8 to 14 day, the warmth continues, but you notice that the precipitation chances do go to above normal in much of the east. We're still dealing with above normal temperatures. So, yeah, this is just not getting off to a good start at all. February we had the bitter cold and that snowpack that wouldn't go away, and now we have stall front syndrome and ridges. You know what? It's ridiculous. It really is. None of this is normal. It's all part of climate change. You're not supposed to have front stall out like this. This is not supposed to happen. So anyway, that's it for tonight. Have a good night, and what can I say? This week is going to suck.